Rarely in life we get to those moments where we could look at something and make an example out of it and learn from it, right? Did a lot of videos in the whole concept of defunding the police, right? Now, in New York City, New York State, New York City, where I commute to work, there's been a spike in subway-related crimes, right? I've taken the train, the subways my entire life, from when I was 16 to now, for almost 20 years, right? Continuously. With the gap of the pandemic, I didn't take the subways all of 2020 after March 15. I stopped taking the MTA subway system. Over the years of taking the train, I've encountered many mentally ill people, a lot of homeless people that live and migrate throughout the subway systems. They're down there, right? The police interactions with those, with homeless people and mentally ill people in the subway system is very, how you say, it's not an active interaction. It's usually passive, right? It's a lot of transit cops don't think it's their job to, they can't really kick someone out if they're just in the subway, right? Without proof that they didn't pay or jump the turnstile. If someone's just in the subway sitting down, they're free to do that and it's not a crime, right? If they're homeless and smelly, if they're if they're crap all over themselves or vomit, cops will usually leave them alone. Rightfully so. That's not the job of a police officer, right? Especially if the person isn't posing a threat to other people. What you're seeing now lately, because the subway systems have been emptied out of the rush hour crowd, meaning the guy that works in the city that lives in New Jersey or the Westchester, Long Island, right? Those people aren't really taking the train now, especially the professional office workers, right? The essential workers tend to be young and people of color, and those people tend to know their surroundings. They move in and out of those systems very well. It's the professional people that live, or not professional people, but the people that live in the suburbs that take the train in and out are the ones that tend to feel more scared and tend to be targets of petty crimes from pickpocketing to different things, right? And criminals in the subways, they know who to go after, right? What you're seeing now is mentally ill people attacking just people at random, right? That it's always been like that. What I just said. That's the structure of the subway, the social structure of the subway system, right? You know, you have the people that's gonna get mugged and gonna get like attacked or assaulted, and you have just regular subway goers that know how to like duck and roll and move through the system, right? But now it's just random, right? I could take the subway and get attacked, right? Everyone's just getting slashed, attacked, stabbed, robbed, all types of different things. Right? Like I said, the police don't really interact with it proactively. It's usually after it happened, it will be investigated, and then the perpetrators will be found, right? It's not like an active investigation on people in the subway. That doesn't happen unless they've committed a crime, and then they're going to be investigated and sought after. What you're seeing here is a perfect example of what defund the police mean, right? We have a closed system. Say the subway system is a closed system. Represent like a state or a county or jurisdiction, and the government's response to anything that happens in the system is send the police officers in, right? Whereby the police only power in a situation like this is to investigate and sort of solve it after the crime has happened, and to prevent it by having a presence in the subway. You always hear police presence is needed in the subway, right? Because all you're seeing is just cops standing around, and it might deter criminals from doing things. But it doesn't seem to be working, because the people that's doing these crimes are just crazy mentally ill people that belong not in the subway system, but in like mental institutions, social service institutions, right? And mental illness, right? When white rich people talk about mental illness and mental awareness, right? For them, it's something else. It's this thing where your loved ones may be feeling depressed and suicidal, and you take care of them, you talk to them, they get counseling, they get treatment, right? But mentally ill isn't only that. It's other aspects of it, right? You have a lot of big homeless population, right? And people primarily become homeless because of mental illness, and they need treatment. And those social service institutions are either barely there anymore or not there at all. So what these mentally ill homeless people tend to do is just go into the subway system and just express themselves in this enclosed system where random people go in and out of it every day. Millions of people in and out of it every day. And to just send a cop in there with a gun and a badge to solve that will never fix it, right? Right? The cops could find perpetrators and put them in jail, but they'll be back in the streets. Find the perpetrators, put them in jail, be back in the streets, right? Back in the subways, right? Or someone new mentally ill enter that subway system, migrates through it for a couple of months before they attack someone, before they explode and attack someone. And mental illness could also be solved with medication that some of these homeless people can't get, right? If you can't get medication to control your mental responses or whatever, you're gonna act out, right? And then we've seen that in celebrities that don't take their meds and they end up like robbing a liquor store, but they're a millionaire celebrity, right? And then you hear the excuse, oh, he didn't take his medication for a week or something. So in this instance, right, the defunding the police concept applied here, right, would have the police presence remain, right? We're not pulling the police out of the system. Police presence will remain to deter other criminals, right? Criminals going in there to be criminals. We'll see a cop and be like, nah, let's go somewhere else and do our crime. We see the police there, right? What would happen now, some of that money that's going towards guns and bullets could maybe fund a homeless shelter or fund a psychiatrist to work primarily with this population of mentally ill people in a subway, that's invading the subway systems, right? You could have someone go in there, pull these people out, right? Or have an incentive to attract people, whether it be like a free food day or a free health checkup day, or even like we're giving out coats or blankets, or we're giving out food just today or hot food or something like that, right? There has to be a place where these people go for food. Usually soup kitchens and different places like that. Have a map, have a system that grabs those people off the streets, out of the subways, and give them treatment, right? Put money into that, the social service that would prevent something from happening, right? Police presence may prevent it, but it only goes so far, right? And there, on my phone right now, as I'm shooting this video, there's another news alert. Someone else got slashed or stabbed in the subway by someone they don't know that looked mentally ill and walk around like barefoot or flip-flops or something like that in the middle of winter, right? So it's improving crime fighting, right, with different professions, not just a man with a gun. A man with a gun could only do so much, but a man with a gun in a team of different people, right? We look at your superhero movies. Look at the Avengers, right? A Justice League, right? You have Superman, you have Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Cyborg, and the others, Aquaman, and others. They all have different strengths, right? When they confront an enemy. And usually when these superheroes confront an enemy, it's one person that's way more powerful than each of them. But combined, different strengths. They're not all the same. It's not 10 Captain Americas or 10 Iron Mans. It's different powers, different levels of it. Right? And working together, they defeat the evil or solve the problem. Right? Think about that when you think about defunding the police. Right? It's not about the man with the gun anymore. It's maybe the man with the gun and a team of a psychiatrist, a doctor, maybe someone that works at an outreach center that could say, oh, I know that guy, he's, blah, 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 bring him over here, we could give him medical attention or whatever he needs, so he doesn't go randomly slashing people in the subway, right? And that's one way of looking at it. I know it's a pinhole perspective on a massive problem, right? But it's a perspective that you could look at and be like, yeah, okay, I could see how that may work, right? It's not guaranteed to work. We don't put solutions out there. We don't brainstorm for solutions with a guarantee that it's going to work, right? That's not how brainstorming works, right? When you're in grad school and you brainstorm with your classmates to come up with a thesis or a solution for something, it's not guaranteed it's going to work. And you don't get graded on most of the times you don't get graded on if it's successful or not. You get graded on the effort you put in to solving the problems, right? You get graded on the effort. Even if the effort yields a solution that's useless or doesn't work, right? At least you tried, and now your failure, right? You can learn and maybe go at it another way. But you learn that this definitely doesn't work. And something comes out of that. Some information comes out of your failure, right? But the attempt at the solution is what we need right now, instead of this complaining and, you know, blue lives matter, black lives matter, and it's just too much complaining but not a lot of solutions, right? And like I said, I'm not a social scientist, I'm not an expert, I'm not a law enforcement expert, but I'm just seeing stuff on the news and I'm like thinking, do we need 10 Captain Americas to take down Thanos? No, we need a mix of different things, a medley of people. Alright guys, have a good weekend.